Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight, we have a very special guest joining us. Tonight, we have Jules Thorp. So, Jules is a truth seeker on a mission to ethically report true crime stories by not just sharing the how, but the why. Jules is the co founder of Fire Eyes Media, an amazing women owned and operated production company that brings stories you haven't heard. Jules has also founded and produced the podcast Missing in Hushtown. As you will see and hear tonight, Jules is not only informative, empowering, and a big advocate, but she is also authentic. She has a big heart, an uplifting and supportive gesture towards others, and has one of the funnest and funniest personalities. Lastly, it is an honor that I get to call Jules a friend. So, without further ado, let's bring on Jules Thorp to Danny After Dark. Hi, Jules.
What an intro. Ditto. I love you to death. Hi, everybody.
Oh, how are you doing tonight?
I'm jazzed. So in this, I'm sure we'll get into it, but in the true crime space, it can be super, super heavy. And especially if you have more tendencies to be an empath. And so I've been like crawling out of a hole, I feel like, the last few days, but the last 24 hours have been so encouraging and uplifting. I'm like, I've got my razzle dazzle back. I've got my fire back. The why is back, and I'm just ready to knock some doors down. So I'm fired up.
Awesome. Well, tonight is going to be a very low-key, hang-out, really relaxing environment and vibes, but also we'll be talking, quite a bit about you and what you do. So this is live tonight. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat as we're going. I do see already some of our friends. Beckham, you got to meet at CrimeCon this year. A few other friends of the show in here. Let's see, Capone, Kane, Paulcast, James Watson. Weird True Crime. I've heard of them.
That's Gina.
I know. And Rachel and Heather from Mother Like Murder. Hey, ladies. Good to see you. So before we kind of dive into the true crime aspect about yourself, Jules, just about you. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. I am I'm an adult. I don't know. I grew up in Southern California, pretty close to the beach in Orange County. And then after college, I got my bachelor's in theater arts, which probably vibes now that you know me. And then I moved to Tennessee, met my husband at a bar, the Wild Beaver. And I was bartending there. There's a whole story. We'd do that another time. But yeah, we've been married 16 years. We have two amazing feral bear cub boys. And I'm hoping everything goes well today because we're live. They always find me. But I'm loving where I am in life. I'm 40 and it feels fantabulous. I think 40 feels just inspiring, badass, encouraging, powerful. I can say no to people, whereas before I'd be like, oh no. Sometimes I'm still like that, but my backbone is a lot tougher. Went back to school and got my master's in education. So I was a public school teacher for a while. And then when I had my boys, I pivoted and wanted to do the stay-at-home thing. Got some donkeys, dogs, cat, chickens. And yeah, we're pretty busy here, but I'm super busy minded. So I just needed to kind of stay home, but I was like, well, we've got a lot to do in this world. So let's channel all this energy into something that you're also passionate about, Jules, and that is advocacy and true crime. So in education, I advocated a lot for my students who were in high need areas, low income areas, who were in the high statistic areas, and also many who were in the special education system. I was a staunch advocate for them, and it's kind of transferred into this area. So here we are, and there's no turning back, you guys. I'll take a breath. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. So we just got a lot of information. So that was a great interview. Thank you for being here, Jule. Just kidding. So, oh my gosh, so much. Well, one, I love the story about how you met your husband at the
My
bar, and
boss.
the name of the bar is
He's not
so
my
funny.
boss.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what did I just say?
I thought you were going to say how you met your boss. And I'm like, he ain't the boss.
No, oh gosh, no, I would not. No, no, no. Beckham wants to know, does the Beaver Bar still exist?
Yes, it does. It's the Wild Beaver Saloon in downtown Nashville. And I was one of the original beavers behind the bar.
Well, when CrimeCon goes back to Nashville, we need to do a little reunion if you're allowed back in there.
Oh yeah, I am. They took pictures of us that first year it opened and they cycled them through and all the advertisement for like years later. And I found out in an unfortunate way when we went back years later and I was like, that's me and Chaps, assless Chaps on the bar.
All right. So if all of a sudden every single viewer that we have just goes away and all of a sudden there's all these flights booked to Nashville all of a sudden, I think we know why. Wow. Wow. You know what? I think it does sound like a very good story. And we are a very big animal loving community here. And I was going to wait till the end to ask, but you threw them in there. So you have a lot of animals, you said.
Do. I love animal rescues. I know you have 6 cats.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got done fostering 2 others, correct?
Yes.
Kittens. I like to keep up with how many cats she has. I'm waiting for the 7th one. I've got 3 rescue dogs. I've got 2 miniature donkeys. One is a rescue. One came from my friend who started breeding them years ago. And then I've got 4 chickens from Tractor Supply. Oh, and a cat. The cat's a rescue too.
Like, we can't forget that. I was waiting. I'm like, girl, get to the cat.
That's my baby.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you have a very full life before we even get into the true crime aspect. But so you came from education, which
yeah.
I can really tell that you have that type of just way you interact with people. I can see how that is really, I'm sure, helped you in regards to what you do now.
Thank you. Yeah, it does. It helps me also with conflict management and also de-escalation. I know when I've worked in different areas of education as a teacher, and I started in the highest behavioral needs. So I was kind of like the last stop before they got put in a residential program. So the things we saw and experienced and the things kids did to us and said to us, it just broke your heart. But we were certified in nonviolent interventions and de-escalation. And so it's really helped me in talking with people that are unpleasant in this business. I do find that when we are podcasters and we call people and say, I'm a podcaster, it's like click. It's not very well received. So just like navigating right off the bat when people are abrasive and you're like, typically at first you'd be like, okay, we can go. But in this space, you're like, okay, I hear you.
Yeah. So taking a step back, before you became a podcaster, how or when did you start to become interested in true crime? Was there a certain case that kind of grabbed your attention, or was there just something about that genre that spoke to you? And at what age or when did that happen?
That's a great question. I do feel like it's been ingrained in me since birth. So my mom has a degree in criminal justice and was a police officer when I was little. And my dad is a lawyer. So there's a lot of crime and law and order, crime and justice kind of conversations. And I learned from watching my mom, this tiny little thing, and she's just so strong and ferocious in that position, how to be brave. And my dad is so smart and intelligent and methodical. So he taught me, like, slow down and look at what you have in front of you before you just, act hooked on things, which I try to do. But on their shelf, I started reading Nancy Drew as a super little girl. I was a super young little girl. That's super weird. And so I went through all those old 1950s. I feel like a lot of us listening probably read the old Nancy Drew books with like the textured covers. I read all of those, and then I moved into Helter Skelter.
Oh boy. Okay.
So, because that book was on the shelf, and I took it and I was like, oh, what is this? Okay, this is not safe. I need to learn. And I was really intrigued with cults and all that psychology. And I wanted to do the FBI and all this stuff, but different paths in life, I kind of all just led me back here. So it's always been an obsession. I've listened to podcasts every day, probably since the inception of podcasts. And before that, it was the crime radio dramas at night, like the Lone Ranger and Ghostbusters. I would listen to those. This sounds really old timey. We'd gather around the radio at 9 p.m. and listen to the AM radio. They would have like mystery hour. And yeah, it was strange upbringing, but I loved it.
Oh my goodness. You are taking it back old school.
I am.
There's a whole generation that they're like, wait, there was a life before podcasts? What?
Yeah, peeps, come on. It's crazy. Oh, full circle moment for me today. I'm sorry, this is your interview.
No, go.
Full circle moment today. So, one of the cases that I taught when I taught high school seniors, we really needed to get high interest up and get this particular graduating class graduated and coming to school. They were not coming to school. So most of the extra needing of love teenagers got put in my class, which I wanted. And so I was like, okay, how can we get them to stay in school? And so we did an entire unit on Serial, Anon Saeed's case. And that is kind of the podcast that kind of like broke open the industry and long form investigative, pretty much, by Sarah Koenig. If you've not listened, I mean, get on it. It's incredible. But so my students, they did, evidence logs. We did a whole mock trial. They had evidence boxes. They debated, and their attendance skyrocketed. And those kids, I don't know how old they are now, 28. I don't know, but they'll still message me when they see breaks about the case. And so it's pretty cool. And some ended up going to the law enforcement. But full circle moment is today I got to sit on an interview with, his name's Colin Miller, and he's a really renowned lawman that works with Rabia with the Undisclosed podcast. And they worked with Anon Saeed to get him out. And I was like, whoa. I wish I could go back and tell the class this right now, because it is like, I didn't say anything in the interview. I was just watching Nick do it, my colleague, but I was like, this is crazy. So,
oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Yeah, those people are doing real things, that like exonerating wrongfully accused. It's really powerful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is definitely a podcast. That's an old school one. But if people haven't heard it from Serial, absolutely.
The victim is Hae Min Lee. And she deserved better, and her family deserved better. And so we try to make sure that Hae Min Lee is the forefront of it. But the podcast really centers around if the right person was in jail for it. And sometimes you wonder if Hae Min Lee got lost in that story. But then I also wonder, would the case get out there if it wasn't for the podcast? So it's kind of two sides of that coin.
Yeah, absolutely. In regards to you being with Fire Eyes Media, there's quite a few podcasts under them.
Yes.
That cover a variety of things, which we will get into. But when did you first decide that you wanted to start a podcast? And then how did that progress from there?
So the first podcast was True Crime and Headlines with Jules and Joe. My best friend is a psychiatric nurse practitioner. Jody, we do everything in life together. Our kids are the same age. We're just always like this. She's my hero. And I voluntold her to do that podcast. She got scared, so she quit. The conversation was more like, Jody, this is a big lift. She worked 2 full-time jobs. It was a huge lift for her. We didn't know we could do Zoom at the time, or StreamYard. We thought we had to be in the same off closet. So it was a big lift, but she got a little too scared. It was a little too close to home for her. and she doesn't do true crime. And so I was like, I don't feel like the space is for you, but she's the most supportive. She sponsors the show. And then I met Jen Rivera, and I asked her to come on as the new co-host on True Crime and Headlines. And now it's Jules and Jen, and she completely has taken ownership, and I'm really thankful and grateful for her. She's a dream partner, and she's so intelligent. As far as, did you want to know about the network when we started the network?
Yes, so the network as well as Missing in Hashtag. But before you do that, shout out to Jen. I officially got to meet her at CrimeCon.
That's right.
Yeah, love her.
Yeah, people never have seen us in the room at the same time, but we are different people.
Yes, you are different people, but she's amazing. So shout out to Jen.
She is. She's incredible.
Yeah. So how did Fire Eyes Media begin, and then also Missing in Hushtown? Because that's kind of where I first heard of you, was Missing.
Yeah. So Missing in Hushtown, I'll go chronologically then. Missing in Hushtown was birthed from True Crime and Headlines, my original podcast. I went on our local Facebook HIP. I don't know if you guys have those like HIP groups, but we have like a HIP White House. So the town White House, I went on this group, Ladies of White House, and I asked, does anybody have any requests for true crime podcasts? I just started one. You can listen here. And everyone kept saying Jennifer and Adriana Wicks. And I was like, who's that? And they said, it's our longest unsolved homicide in our town. And I said, really? Not going to do that because that's scary. I'm not going to do one in my own town. So I sat on it, and it kept getting requested and requested. And then my son's preschool teacher was listening to my podcast, and she told me that one of my son's classmates is related to Jennifer and Adriana Wicks. And I was like, is this a sign? And the next day, my husband sends me a picture of a billboard of Jennifer and Adriana Wicks. And he goes, have you considered this case? And I look at Jennifer, and my sister's name is Jennifer. Hi, Megan. And my son, my littlest at the time, was 2, and Adriana was 2 when she was taken. And I just took it as a sign. So at preschool graduation, I kindly cornered the boy's mom. And it turns out it's Jennifer's cousin, and she was on the podcast, and she connected me with Casey. And we learned this is more than a 2 episode. This is an entire season. And so I was like, I don't know how to do this. Let's Google it. I feel like you can figure anything out if you want. There's resources, there's libraries, there's databases and scholarly journals and people. Like, you can do it. So I was like, okay, we can do it. And that's when Joe was like, peace. Not in my town. It kind of took off from there. It was a big journey. I was just with the family this weekend. We had a yard sale that an amazing Wicks warrior put together for legal fees. And so I was there for a few days. It's ongoing. And yeah, so that's how that was born. It was pretty crazy. I didn't seek out a long form at all. But Serial and Up and Vanished and To Live and Die in LA and Somebody Knows Something, those all shaped what I love in storytelling. So as soon as I will tell you what, everybody, I'll tell you what, as soon as I wasn't scared anymore, I knew I was supposed to do this case. Because I was scared at first. And I'm like, as soon as I felt that rush of, no, this is meant to be, this case is, you're meant to do this, not meant to solve it, because I can't, that's not what I do, but you're meant to get loud. I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm in, I'm all in. So it's crazy.
What were the things that scared you, holding you back initially?
Well, the unsolved factor, the rumors were, because for those of you who don't know, I live in a small historic county called Robertson County. And it's a bunch of tiny little towns. Yes, those ones got me too. Oh, and Cold, the most devastating podcast. Okay, we can do this later. Sorry. It's like hanging out on the best days. What was your question, Danny?
So what were the things that made you scared to initially?
Oh, well, I didn't want to get killed.
Well, okay.
Yeah. That was pretty much on the top of the list, because everybody was saying, we know what happened, we know who did it, the person's still out there, and the house where she and her baby, Jennifer and Adriana, um, went missing from is 3 miles away, a crow flies from where I'm sitting right now.
Mm.
So it's literally in my town. And there's a lot of connections. And this is a good old boy. It's slowly transitioning, but it still has the essence of good old boy handshakes, ruled by football heroes, championships on the water tower kind of thing. Your me, mom, papa's Bubba Bo did a handshake 50 years ago. So now nobody's going to jail kind of thing. And I was told to be scared. But then I realized these people are idiots and we got to fry them. So there we are.
And what was the reception to when you did start doing it and put that out there?
The local reception was icy because I named the town Hush Town. Upon reflection, it's not really the most positive light for a town that people are very proud to be from. But I tell them, you guys, I'm from here too. And if you guys were actually talking, I wouldn't have to name this Hush Town. This would have been solved in Tennessee. The reason it's still an unsolved case is because people are not talking. And I do believe in the power and bravery in numbers. And the more people we've gotten to see our side and join us and know we love this town so much that if 2 girls are missing, we need to bring it up and talk about it. So there's been a huge shift the last 2 years, which we're really thankful for. I think it's mostly the oldest generation was like, "This is a hush town," but it's fine. It's fine. They're now putting signs in their yard. Like, you can't drive from here into town without driving past all these lawn signs for Jennifer and Adriana. We've got bumper stickers. We had billboards. Yeah, that's our hashtag. If you put that into Facebook or Instagram, hashtag justice for Jennifer and Adriana. Adriana has 2 N's. Wix, you'll see all these tag posts. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to star that. Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
They are incredible. And I guess that segues into, we started the podcast because I pitched the podcast last year at Tenderfoot. I wasn't going to, I didn't know you could pitch your podcast. And Heather Northcraft was of Mother Like Murder Moncast Productions was like, you need to pitch your podcast. And I was like, let's do it. But I was fangirling over Payne Lindsay because he's so, isn't it well, I say respectful, but I ran when I saw him because I panicked. Legit about faced and booked it because he's so influential. I think that's the only time I've been starstruck, just because of the amount of respect I have for what he's done in the journey. And I love what Tenderfoot has done. So we pitched it to them, didn't hear back. Love you, Tenderfoot, because I know you follow me, so I don't know if you're going to see this. I love the people over there, but we also pitched it to Audio Check, and they were so sweet. We went back and forth a few times, and it didn't get picked up. And I will tell everybody, it's just a lot of humble pie. I pitched it with a PowerPoint, and it was horrible. And one day I'll release my pitch because it's so embarrassing, but you got to start somewhere.
Yes.
That rejection was redirection. And I'm like, again, how hard can it be? So I looked up how to start a network, and Jen and I decided, let's do this together. Here we are.
And that is Fire Eyes Media.
It is Fire Eyes
Media. How did you come up with the name?
Jen and I first bonded. We had a video call when she had one of her other podcasts that she asked me to come be a guest on. And we bonded over our tattoos. We both have big floral tattoos. And I was telling her I want to get a tiger and flowers. And she goes, I have a lion and flowers. And her whole arm, if you don't know, Jen is tattooed all up and down. I was telling her, take it out. You're so edgy, because she's so proper. And take it out. But she's like, no. But she's had, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I wanted, but a tiger. And so when we were trying to come up with a name, we're like, well, we're very connected to the tiger and the lion. So I'm the tiger, she's the lion. So it's half the face, of each one, and then fire in our eyes, because that's kind of how we operate going into this. And so yeah, fire your eyes.
Okay, I just thought the same thing. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know she had tattoos either.
Y'all, she's straight up tatted.
I love her even more. I love her even more. That is amazing.
Like
That is amazing.
massive. It's beautiful too. She's got them all over. I think one arm's almost a full sleeve, and then she's got them up and down her legs. Yeah. She needs to just take them out.
Yes, she and Amber need to compare. Oh my gosh, totally, totally.
Yeah, I think
That is
Amber wins
wild.
though.
So when did Fire Eyes Media, when did you guys officially launch, if that's the right word?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go too, Danny. I think it's just over a year ago, actually. Yeah.
So very recent,
Very recent. And when we started it, we acquired Missing in Hushtown. Show us the tats, Jen. We acquired Missing in Hushtown. I put it on as Fire Eyes, and slowly have taken off my other one, Ann Lee Audio House, because that was connected with Jules and Joe, because my middle name was Ann and Joe is Jody Lee. So we were Ann Lee Audio House, and Jody wants off of it. And so I was trying to transition slowly, because she was scared. So I was like, it's okay, boo boo, I'll get you. So yeah, I've moved all the projects over.
So there are several shows under Fire Eyes Media. Can you tell us which ones those are? Some of them we might see in the show.
I hope. Okay. Woo! Well, to start with, we have Weird True Crime, Gina and Amber, and they're in here right now, and they're on a forced break. That's what I'll call it, because they are fabulous workers and don't want to break. But I was like, everybody needs to take a minute, especially like with kids in school. This time of year is crazy, and everybody has jobs on top of podcasting, because otherwise, how do you live?
Mhm.
We're not out here rich. Those girls are amazing. Weird True Crime, but they're coming back October 1st, I believe, right, girls? And then they're weekly, and they're amazing. And they reached out to us to join, and I was really honored. And they're giving us a chance because we're still baby, and they're being patient and sticking with us as we figure out what to do. And obviously, I always want to do better for them, but I'm obsessed with them.
I'm
And then we have,
obsessed with them too.
I know, right? And then we have Truly Twisted, Alicia. She has another podcast, Twisted and Uncorked, but she wanted to branch out and do a more victim-centered one. And so she's doing a great job on that one. And that one comes out weekly as well. And then obviously Missing in Hushtown is already out. Jennifer and Adriana Wicks, the whole season. Season 2 on the disappearance of Bethany Murkowski here in Tennessee from 2001 is being produced with partnership, executive produced by Momcast Productions and Fire Eyes. So the girls behind Like Mother Like Murder in the comments tonight, Rachel and Heather, are also executive producers on that. So we've been working a lot on season 2, and that comes out. And then we have the nonprofit podcast, You Should Be Here. There's 4 series on the feed a year. The next one comes out October. It's called Cases at Hannes. And every penny, really, we make on that goes back to a charity. Right now it's going to Holly's House, a place of safety, and I don't know what would the word be? Anyway, healing. That was established by one of our victims in our last series, and that is Holly Dunn, and she's an amazing human. So that will go to her. We already had True Crime and Headlines. Secrets Beyond the Sacramento River is an entire investigative podcast that I'm also working on right now, and that comes out in November. About the suspicious death of a young man in Sacramento. He was found in the bottom of the river in his car. Windows were up, all doors were locked. A car was in park. His keys were in his front pocket. Very suspicious, no criminal investigation into it. So we're like, let's do it. And I feel like, we've got, Jen has Case Uncovered. She does that sporadically. That's her passion. Her passion one. What else am I forgetting, guys?
I have the list. You have missed one, and he was just on my channel.
Ernesto. He's the one that wins all our awards.
Yes. So for people who missed that interview when he was on, shame on you. Briefly, what is Ernesto about?
Ernesto is about the 2007 death of little Adriana Hutto. So her mom, Amanda Lewis, was convicted of murdering Adriana Hutto, and they are out seeking to find out and ask the question, what really happened to Adriana Hutto. And there's a whole team that do not believe that Adriana Hutto was killed by Amanda Lewis. So there's actually a lot of developments in this case right now, and it's about to blow up. In fact, like Colin Miller, undisclosed, the team behind Anan Syed, they're now dissecting the case weekly, and it's really cool. So y'all should head on over and look at that.
Awesome. And I don't know if this is breaking news here. You just signed.
Oh, yes. Amanda. Yeah, so we're still onboarding her, and yeah, so she just signed with us too, and she's gonna start her second season soon, and the second season will be the first one that we kind of have an influence over. And Jen did the rebranding, and her cover's amazing, and she just does cold cases out of North Carolina, and she's an investigative journalist. She's insanely smart, and woo.
That is amazing. There are such a variety of podcasts too that you have here, which there's something for everybody. And I'm really excited to share all of these with my audience. So if any of you guys are looking for additional podcasts, or even if you're not, go subscribe to all of them. You will not regret it. You will not regret it.
We're proud to be women owned and operated. Like, we're women strong, except Nick, we let him slide in, but we still call him a Fire Eyes media baddie. We say you're a femme.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Which, thank you for linking me and him, by the way. I had said to him, I was like, I did a book review of yours before, and I didn't connect it until I was like, oh my God, I have his book.
Yeah.
But he's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, his book, I Don't Like Mondays, won an award at the True Crime Awards in London 2024. And it's about the first mass school shooting. And he actually has familiar connections with the original reporters on it. And it's actually right now set to release. They're Americanizing it and re-release, I believe, in April. So
that's what he said. Yeah. I was like, I will be buying. Yeah. The updated one. Absolutely. We did get an update. I just wanted to put this out here. So Holly's House is a non-residential child and adult victim advocacy center. Our mission is to empower victims of intimate crime and abuse. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to star that too. So that's pinned here if anybody wants to check out Holly's House.
It's an amazing thing that they're doing.
So in regards to, the podcasting and just true crime community. So, I mean, we could probably have like a 2-hour conversation on just that, but let's see. So when you started doing podcasting yourself, or even when you started taking an interest in true crime before you started podcasting, have you seen a shift in how the true crime genre is presented? Have you seen that from your perspective, whether it's for the worse or for the better?
Yeah. I do feel that in the very beginning I feel like the space was a little bit more owned by professional journalists, kind of weaving in there. And then everybody and their neighbor had a podcast. And because there's no, journalistic integrity code of ethics for podcasters, there was a huge rise in unethical podcasting, according to my standards, in my opinion, of what ethical podcasting is. So what that means is like the sensationalization, exploiting victims, not taking into consideration that these are people's worst days of their life, and now you're sharing it with everybody. When we typically think about your worst day of your life, you don't really tell everybody that ever. You may tell a few trusted people. And you still probably hold that close, and it's full of grief and trauma. So I try to operate like that now as I move forward, that they don't get a choice, and it's out there for everybody, and it's horrific, and millions of people will listen or hear it. So we try to remain ethical, but I've noticed a shift from sensationalizing murderers to advocating for victims. And I am so proud of this community for that shift. We're not perfect. There are some people that are horrible out there, that I wish would not do this career. And there are some people that are the golden standard. And then I feel like we're not even we're in the middle. I'm still figuring it out as I go. And I look back on some of my older episodes. I've even re-recorded some of them because I felt like they were disrespectful in the way that I recorded it, to like certain details I added. So yeah, we're still learning here, but I see a huge shift. Don't you see that shift? Especially at CrimeCon. I felt it. Did you feel it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. So yeah, in regards to like, different content of like, when we are like, first starting out, I keep everything on my channel, which on the one hand, it's just like, I look back on someone, I'm like, Danielle, oh my God. But on the hand, I'm like, it's growth. Like, I think we all can learn and grow. And I want, if somebody does go way back into the Danny After Dark archives, like if you have that much time to go back and binge it, which, hey, please do if you want to. But just to see like, you know what, like she has grown along the way and here's how. And I think that says a lot, because that's part of what this community is. It's evolving for the better. Most of us are going on that journey. Like you said, there are some that aren't and maybe should get off the ride, but there has been such a shift. And, I'm a book nerd, and I'm a proud book nerd. I always have been. And with true crime books, I've known, and I've talked about this with a lot of authors that I've had on, where I commend them when I see this in their work, that a lot of times true crime books would be about the offender, and maybe there'd be a paragraph about the victims. And I'm not just saying a paragraph per victim. I mean, they'd all be lumped into one paragraph. And now it's very much, you know what, there is some talk about the offender because you kind of have to weave that in, but there's a lot more victim-centered books about the true crime community, and it's for the better, and it's evolving that way. At least I've noticed. I don't know about you.
No, I agree. That's something too, and I totally, I hear you with the book, like genre shifting too, but it also appears that we can't get around that it's interesting. Cults are interesting. Cult leaders are interesting. Serial killers are interesting. It's that, how does that work? Like, open up the clock and see all the mechanics in it. How does that work? It's interesting. And the psychology aspect of it. And then there's also that piece of like, where we feel safe when we listen to it, and it helps us know how to be better protected. It's, I think, one of the big reasons we listen to it.
Yeah. And everybody,
that shift.
Yeah, everybody seems to, there could be, even with I'll just go under the podcast that you have under Fire Eyes Media. Every one of those podcasts is bringing something different to the table. So you're not going to get the same thing on each one. And I think the true crime space, with the variety out there, has so much to offer in regards to, what people want to bring to the table. I know for myself, and I've said this a ton on my channel, I know a lot of people, like, especially more so maybe law enforcement angle of like, what drives somebody to do what they do in regard to the offender, where I'm like, I have always been more fascinated with the community and how the community acts around an incident, around an offender, or around, what's happening in their community with, if there's several instances of murders that are happening. I find the community piece, to me, the most fascinating. And yeah, I think with so many podcasts now, on the one hand, there's a million different true crime podcasts, but you can get
Yeah.
something different from everything.
I've got a podcast for anybody and everybody. I mean, I'm not talking about on my network, just in my catalog of friends. Even, we have a group chat of women in true crime podcasting. I'm always recommending our friends, like, hey, I might not be for you. Some people don't like my voice, or they say I sound AI, or why does she sound happy? I'm like, that's just my voice. I will work on it. But here, these people are different, a lot different. And I think you love them, and their stories need to be told. One thing that we can't do in this space, too, is monopolize victim stories. Like, none of us own those stories. So we want each other, especially in the community. I feel like we've curated over the last year. We want everybody to share the same story. Talk about Jennifer and Adriana Wiggs. You don't have to plug Missing and Hush Channel. Just please get them out there. If you want to, thank you. That's great. But get the girls out there,
Yeah. So in regards to, that's a good transition. So CrimeCon, I know we were just there in Denver this year, and I know there's a big misconception for people who I think have not been to CrimeCon about what it is there. And the advocacy piece is huge. And what you just spoke for, and you being there, with what you do, you're there, you see it from maybe a little bit of a different perspective, but there is so much advocacy of families, loved ones, law enforcement saying, hey, this case is unsolved, or, we need answers. My loved one is missing, or something happened to my loved one and we don't know who did it. Please share this. And they want every platform to share it, so everybody is saying their names and remembering that.
Yeah, we saw a ton of that. We brought Jennifer Wicks' sister, Casey Robinson, with us to CrimeCon, and she has tangible connections and leads now with professionals in the space that are writing letters on behalf for the case, that are helping her. And because of our connections with the Jason Landry search team that we've connected with, they just sat down for a few hours the other night with Rachel and myself and taught us everything that they've learned from their 3 years of search teams. And now we have a search team, Bethany Brigade search team. So now we can use what we learned strictly because we went to CrimeCon and connected with these families and talked to the mom and dad searching and the team. And people want to help you. They really want, if they can tell you're genuine and you need that help, I see it left and right there, everywhere I go. There are a lot of opinions. I'm happy to talk about anything. Whatever you want to ask about opinions on things, I won't shy away from any of that. I think some people are wrong.
So here's a question, Weird True Crime. Do you think CrimeCon has always had a large advocacy piece, or has it shifted as the feelings about true crime has shifted?
That's hard because I've been to 3, and it was 3 in the last 2 years. So I went to Nashville last year, and yes, huge advocacy piece. Last year I got connections for cadaver dogs and actual tangible connections just by walking around Creator Row and handing out my flyer and talking to people. I learned so much from the sessions. London, super advocacy driven, super. It's very small. So it's like 400 people versus like 6,000, say, which we're in. So it's very tiny. So those deep, meaningful conversations are really great to have. And then Denver felt advocacy driven. There were a few people walking around. I'm like, like, maybe disrespectful shirts or some things on. Somebody handed me something and I put it right in the trash because it was disrespectful. And I was like, this will not have space in my aura. I do. Yeah, I think that's a good question, Gina. I think it's probably the push getting more advocacy driven too, maybe, especially as more victims of crimes and the victims' families are attending more now. I think that's also the uptick. Their advocacy work, they're making their loved ones' tragedy into a legacy where they can help others in need, is a huge, huge piece of CrimeCon now.
Yeah. So Mr. Beckham, when he came to CrimeCon this year to assist me with my booth, he had never been to CrimeCon before.
Yeah.
So I tried to kind of be like, here's what it's like from my perspective as an attendee. And so for him to come, we did a show about it, I think the other week, where we kind of talked about it and gave a recap, and he kind of gave what his thought was. And that was one of the things he kept saying while we were there is like, wow, there's so many people here who just genuinely want answers and are looking to all these content creators to say, hey, can you use your platform to share my loved one's story? And yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Well, that makes me think, Gabby Petito's family, obviously were at CrimeCon. They're a big part of it, and they're just real dear to Fire Eyes. And Gabby, the biggest tip for finding Gabby was, from a YouTube person when they saw on video, when they were making a vlog, a van on video. I mean, the breaks in the case now with social media and how quickly things can get put out there by people who care and want to spread it. It's phenomenal how much we can use that for good. Like, we can crowdsource these cases. We can crowdsource them. Why not? I remember Matthew Jonathan Weaver Jr., missing out of California, in your own backyard, did a bonus about Matthew. And then he did a call to action. And that's one thing podcasts are doing now is a call to action. How can you help? So most that are turning ethical are turning to, this is how you can help. This is where you can go. This is what you can sign. This is where you can donate. And that helps it make it purposeful. This is why we're telling it. But he uploaded a whole Dropbox of images that he hired a drone photographer to take. And I remember one night, this is way before I had my podcast, I spent like hours fixated, zooming in on all the photos, trying to help him find an article of clothing or a ball cap or something. I didn't find anything, but somebody else did. Somebody that they crowdsourced just like I did, and they went on. It was, yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. There's, like you just said, there's so many, with the way social media is and way information gets out there, and even just seeing something, we don't necessarily think, what, I might hold the answer to it, but a lot of times the average person does. And to be able to have that opportunity to possibly see something and make a difference is huge. And I feel like just technology has really allowed that with the amount of information and the platforms where information is getting out there now versus 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
We had on True Crime and Headlines, I did Kaylana Turner in Harris County, Texas, which is how I met some of my podcasting friends in the first place. We chatted about this case, and that's how the group chat started. And anyway, very devastating story. So she fled from her car, went missing. She was having what we know now was a manic mental break, and she needed medication and nutrition and sleep. And she was cornered by the police, and she fled from her car, and she wasn't seen since. And because of social media, I connected with a retired Coast Guard gentleman who went out there with his drones, with his sons and their drones, and they took so many photos and videos. And I was scouring through those. I put them on YouTube to crowdsource them. Made a huge mistake because he said, let me look in the other direction. Do you want me to go back? And I was like, the mom, everybody said she ran this direction. I don't want to waste your time. Well, I'll be damned if she wasn't found later, her remains 500 feet the other direction from where they found her car. I don't know if we would have been able to see anything, but I learned a lesson to look left and right from that. And I will never not go back again and again and again. So everybody else learned from my mistake. Operate as if you have to look left and right. Even if they told you there's only a left turn, there's always a possibility you can go right.
Wow.
Devastating.
Yeah, Kylie's saying, yeah, I remember going through those images for days.
Yeah, that's how Kylie and I didn't know you were here, Kylie. That's how Kylie, so Primetime Crime with a K is a dear friend of ours at Fire Eyes, and that's how we connected. And we started a chat together, and we invited our friend Stephanie from Wicked Ever After. And then from the three of us, it's grown to what, like 40 women in true crime podcasting now?
I love that I'm in that chat now too.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Yep. So Like Mother, Like Murder, watching the video was horrific.
Yeah, it's devastating. And I think I'll always carry that with me of why didn't I know to go? But you don't know what you don't know. But what happened is Kaylana ended up being out there a lot longer than, first of all, she should have been found within the first 5 minutes. But that, you go listen to our coverage. Kylie did a great job covering it. She's still friends with Kaylana's mom, Rosa, and she did a really great job on that episode as well.
Yeah, everybody definitely check that out. Check that out for sure. So in regards to, so I know you mentioned like the group chat in like a really kind of like fun way, which it is, but it's also one of the things that I'm so grateful to in regards to have met so many of you is, I don't necessarily always see that with, and it's not just podcasting or YouTubing, being a YouTuber or whatnot, but just in general, and I hope times are changing, but I'm a very like friends supporting friends person. Yeah. Like I'm not the type that's just like, oh gee, her network or her channel or her podcast is getting more views than mine. So I don't want to send people that way. Like, no, everybody offers something different. I want you on to tell what you're doing so people go to it. I want Kylie here. I want Rachel and Heather and Stephanie and Weird True Crime. I want all of that out there. And that's one of the things I have found with, being able to luckily meet you at the True Crime Podcast Festival in July and be able to network. Like you said, yeah, it's an amazing community where we really do share that, like, hey, everybody check this out. And it's great. And it's a great way where if we have like a case where it's like, hey, this needs more coverage. Can you guys put this out there? We're all doing that. Yes. And I don't see that in a lot of other communities, which makes my heart so sad and makes me so much more grateful to be a part of this with you and with all of these other podcasters. And you guys built that. So shout out to you.
We kind of like you, so we'll keep you in there. I'm just very fortunate that I found other super intelligent, brave, badass women that want to embrace a community. We always try to embrace community over competition. Some competition is healthy and it feels good and it's fun, but I feel like that competition should be to drive you to be a better you, not to drive you to be better than me. So I truly believe, because we have podcasts of all listener levels, some just starting out, some are in the top whatever. Some have been doing it for 5 years. Some just started 2 months ago. It's all different avenues, and we all kind of come and connect because it's community over competition. Like you said, like what's meant for you, Danny, is not going to take away from me. And I feel like that's something we need to teach our youth, especially as a teacher. I saw this working with middle schoolers and high schoolers. What's meant for them wasn't meant for you. If you want it, go hard and work for it and get it. Or you could also ask them how they got there. Mm-hmm. Like, why not share those tips? And I've learned so much from the girls on there on how to do things differently, or if I need to pull back.
No, you have
never.
Keep going forward. If the competition doesn't challenge you to be better, then it's not the right kind.
That's true. Said. Rachel's good at that too. Rachel's like a ride or die with me. She definitely challenges me to keep it going.
So in regards to, so I didn't know before tonight that you were a teacher, and it makes so much sense. And it's just, again, outsider looking in to see the type of huge advocate that you are. I'm like, this was you before this. Like, it just seems like this has just always been you. And this is such a great way to channel that energy and that voice. which is such a benefit to the true crime space and to, you know, victims and people who need advocates and need a voice. You can be that. So
Thank you. Yeah, it's a journey. I think from a young age, I always wanted to help people. I remember walking with these twins in junior high, these twin boys who were bigger than me, escorting them through the campus because an 8th grader was trying to beat them up. And I remember nose to nose with that guy. I'm like, I don't think so. Like, it really made me mad. You don't pick on people. Like, I will take you down, which I know is not like the right way to do it, but come on. Ever since, I don't know.
what has been in regards to I mean, I'm sure you have a million stories as a teacher.
Yeah.
Because that's just what that profession is. But in regards to I might be having you, you know, think back for a second, but in regards to the podcasting and the true crime space that you've done, what is the one moment for you that sticks out in your head, that whether it was something from you know, a victim's family member or community member or law enforcement, something that was either said to you or whether it was in person or, you know, via just a message about what you do, or someone, you know, at a convention that might have said, hey, I'm related to so and so, but something where that was said to you and it was just like, oh my God, I've made a difference, or I can't believe this has reached this. Was there ever a moment where you're like, oh my gosh?
In podcasting?
Yeah.
There were a few. I know one instance is Jennifer Wicks's sister told me that you relit our fire. She was talking about how I came in at a time where they were feeling downtrodden and defeated, and they needed that fire to be relit. So I don't think it's technically me, but somebody fresh to come in and really push them. And they've always had that fire, but they're tired. And so to hear that impact was very, very monumental in my decision to just keep going. Also, I would say probably there's a few instances that stand out. One I can share. Adriana Wicks's father, Billy, is like my brother. I love Billy. We talk every week. He'll call me, "What you doing, sister?" And I'll just say, "Mind your own business. Worry about yourself." But we do a lot of things together. We do a lot of searches together. We talk and brainstorm things together. Do a lot of fundraisers together. But one thing we did do together was go digging for the girls' remains, because we had a tip. And it was in the middle of summer. And I won't exactly tell the location, but it was in like under a building. It was super hot, crawling, and we were digging and using an axe to get roots. It was a really, really long day, and I was, you know, carrying my gun because it was a situation we needed to. So we were all high alert. And I just remember looking at the father of this baby, this victim, and just thinking he is digging with his hands to try to search for his little girl's remains. And I went home, and for the first time in that journey, I just broke down and bawled. I hugged my baby tight. And I think that moment I will hold with me. And I think it's a little bit of a trauma moment. I think that's the first time I've felt secondhand trauma from this journey. And I've realized that throughout the year, because we'll drive by certain locations that we've done that, and I'll have this reaction where my heart will race, I'll sweat, or I'll start to shake, and I'm like, oh, that was that disturbing and that sad. But also, I think too, if we aren't there to help them, and like, who's gonna do it?
True.
You know, if you feel called to do something, like, you got to go. you got to go. So now I'll go out, drop of a hat. I'm like, I'll load up my go bag. We'll go search together.
And what an honor to have, for him to be able to put that trust in you that he want to be comfortable to let down his guard and say, she's here for the right reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really don't want to screw that up ever. We just had the year anniversary of the podcast release. And so it was 15 months before even the release that we were working together. So a year and over 2 years together, we've talked every week, mostly every day. And you don't realize how much you become one as a group. And also, I'll be fully transparent. The tough side is figuring out how not to lose yourself in searching for other people. I did find myself in a lot of different aspects in searching for the girls, and I found, friendships and love with the families. But also, sometimes you forget to take care of you. And I've had to learn some boundaries of, I can't do this. I can't do everything. I have to say no to this. I won't do that. But that's just a me thing. They don't take from me. I'm always, let me help you.
Yeah.
And they're super respectful. But that's why I'm not doing a season 3 new case for a year, because there's too much going on. Can't do it.
So I hope that, please keep us posted. And if there's anything that, I can share here on my end to, get information out there or get, awareness out there or anything that I can do, I'm more than helpful to share on my platform. So
our biggest immediate need, I would say, if I could take this opportunity,
please,
the Bethany Brigade search team, that we formed this week. We need donations. We have an Amazon wish list, and it's always awkward to say we need donations, but it's not for us. It's because we're searching for Bethany Markowski. March will be the 25-year anniversary. Her mom needs us to keep moving forward and to keep searching. So we've got multiple locations. We have to go back multiple times, but we want to do it right and safe. And so there's certain items that we absolutely have to have. And so if anybody's watching or listening and feels called to donate, we have the Amazon wish list. And then the other way to just help us is, A, you can sign up to join the search. And we'll share that link as well. And then B, just share that we have a search team, because we always just need encouragement. We're about to embark on a very big journey. And again, we're learning it as we go. I was asked tonight why we don't have any professional search and rescue people. And I said, well, if we did, we wouldn't need us. We wouldn't be having to do it. But where are they? They're not here. So Rachel and I are doing our best to be the best that we can be. And we're learning using our resources, but we could use a lot of help.
Yeah, definitely. I did put your, information in the drop down bar below, which we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, definitely, especially like the Amazon wish list. If you want to send that my way, or
absolutely,
if you're able to post it in here. But either way, I'll share that for sure.
Thank you so much. It's things like we have ropes, gloves, hand sanitizer, walking poles. I mean, it is all search stuff. And our goal is to put it in our tubs, and I keep it here in Middle Tennessee. And so when we have these searches, it's all in one spot, and I can mobilize, bring my trailer out and go. And then hopefully in the long run, we don't need to search for Bethany anymore, because that's the goal. And then we can turn around and we can help another missing person and help them the way other people have helped us.
Absolutely. Well said. So yeah, we're trying. I will, absolutely share that. Oh, here we go. Thank you. I'm going to start that right here. Thank you, Rachel, for sharing that. And once we're done with tonight, I will post that as well in the drop down bar. So that's there for anybody to click and make a donation if you are so inclined to. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps.
It does. And like I said, even just a simple share. I know times are tough financially for a lot of people. Us as well. We are super in that boat, which is why we're asking. It's always a little humbling to ask for money and donations, because the truth is, if we had it, I wouldn't ask anybody for it. We would personally fund, like we do most of our other operations and things, but it's just not, it's a struggle right now. So if anybody's able to, I promise you, we so appreciate you.
Thank you, Rachel. So in regards to, kind of just winding things down, we talked about being at CrimeCon, and you have been to 3 of them, which is amazing to be able to get that information out here. Not just CrimeCon in the US, but CrimeCon in the UK. Mm-hmm. Are there any other upcoming events that people should have an eye out towards, whether you'll be there, or even other, advocacy events that even if you're not going to be there, that you want people to be aware of and on their radar?
Well, of course, our friends are doing Advocacy Con, and that's going to be in New Mexico. And that one's coming up. That's super important because their whole mission is advocacy and to help. I won't be going to that one because I have 3 others lined up, and just we cannot swing it financially. But I do encourage everybody to look at that one because it is such a phenomenal one. So Jen was one of the speakers last year at Advocacy Con, and our friends Whitney St. Andre and Haley Gray help run that. And I think they do a phenomenal job in this space. And then we have Beyond the Case convention. It's also in New Mexico, which Jen and I are speakers at, along with Bethany Markowski's mom, Johnny Carter. So we'll all be there on a panel about what we're doing. And then CrimeCon Vegas. I was at Nash Vegas. Las Vegas. That's in what? When is that one?
May.
Okay. May. Yeah. So we have April and then May, and then the October 2026 is I go back to London for CrimeCon London.
CrimeCon London. So that is where you will be hanging out with Megan from Mortal Musings, and that guy she has on her show. I don't know his name. He just shows up on, I don't know.
Her bodyguard. Yeah, I'm excited because now I'm coming back like ready to razzle dazzle and to really just like get in there and throw the Mortal Musing punches. So I didn't really connect with Mortal Musings until like the last day, pretty much, because it's different. They put me in the very last spot, the second to last spot, in the last aisle. And Mortal Musings was in like the coveted middle aisle. And so eventually the last day, nobody was coming to see. Nobody knew who we were. So I was like, yeah, I'll just go tell them. So I walked around to everybody and it was so fun. We clicked right away. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that will be awesome. I'm so jealous you get to go over to the UK for that.
I wish I could take you with me. I really wish I could sugar mama bring you.
Oh. So besides the upcoming physical events, do you have any upcoming projects that people should be aware of and have on their radar to find you for that?
Well, just our search team. You can follow that along on the journey on my Instagram at your host Jules, Jules. I'll be posting our entire journey. We do have the beginnings of a documentary in the works, which, with those things, if they happen, they happen. There's so many steps to happen. But we're really, knock on wood, hoping that it happens for the Wicks family. But other than that, we're just focusing. We're turning a shift from our long form podcast to focusing on our network podcast. So our girls and Nick really need the best of us for a while, not just the rest of us. So this is why I'm not doing another long form for a whole year, because I really want to help everyone grow and just like kick butt. And then in 2026, I am starting my own YouTube at Your Host Jules, and it's only going to be cases with victims' families who we work with. So it'll be like a partnership with them. So it'll be absolutely victim driven, victim focused.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting and so amazing. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for that. I'm so excited for you. That is
You encourage and inspire me. It's kind of it's vulnerable putting yourself out there because people on the internet can be mean. But after you are looking for murderers, you're like, okay,
yeah, it's like
put things in
uh,
perspective.
yeah, absolutely. It's like yeah, the noise that's in one ear out the other.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So before we go, was there anything that I did not cover or ask you that you wanted to make sure to get out to my audience? That could be anything, either about yourself, about Fire Eyes Media, or about your podcast, or anything that people should be kind of aware of before we go.
No,
I know we talked about a lot.
You're so sweet. I will say for all the podcast listeners, the best way to support non-financially to your favorite podcasts is to leave a 5-star review. It feels like self-fulfilling to say leave us a 5-star review. However, those go a long way. And when your podcasts are just starting out, if somebody leaves a 1-star review, it brings their average down so low. And I'll tell you just firsthand from experiencing it and seeing my friends go through it, it's devastating because the amount of work that goes in. So I'd like to encourage you, if you are enjoying a podcast, if you're enjoying Danny, leave a great review and rating and star. It takes 2 seconds of your day, but it can help push her algorithm up. And I love to advocate that for my friends anytime I can because people don't realize it goes a long way. Eventually, if they can get sponsors later on, they look at that. Like, what are your reviews? And unfortunately, a lot of mean people come out of the woodwork if they decide you're not for them. Instead of just messaging you or going on their way, they'll put it in a review and it's not constructive. It's just mean. And then it ruins your month. But you too can help a podcaster.
Absolutely. That is very, very well said. It's so interesting how, like, and it's not just for podcasts, but to YouTube as well, or any other, even like, for Instagram influencers or TikTok influencers, instead of like, gee, you know what? I'll just use Mr. Beckham because he's my friend, so I'm allowed to pick on him. Gee, you know what? Mr. Beckham's show, it's just not for me. And okay, let me move on to the next. It's like, no, I need to leave this review and post. It's just, wow.
You don't fit my worldview. You don't fit my experience. You don't see it through my lens. Of course not. But share it. Let me see what you're talking. Like, goodness gracious, Sally Sue.
But it's just another day. But yeah, so on the flip side, it really is just another day with that. But sorry, Beck, I'm going to pick on you. Actually, yes, I do mean to pick on you. But yeah, that is excellent because there are so many podcasts where at the end they always say, "Hey, give us a 5-star review," but to hear for people who don't know why it's so important to do so.
Yeah, it's tough out there. I think most podcasts which start up quit within the first year. And that's because it's a lot harder than people think. And you have to have stick with itness just to have even a little bit of success. And then you have to measure success differently. We're not making money, but how are we successful? Or you could make money, but then at what cost? Or, obviously we have to sustain our lifestyle. We have to put food on the tables. And I would love this to be a career and take care of my family. We're not there yet, but little things can help us get there.
Absolutely. Very well said. Well, thank you, Jules, for coming on Danny After Dark. I really appreciate you taking time out of your extremely busy life to come here and hang out. And to everybody in the chat for coming in and asking great questions and hanging out with us. I appreciate it. A lot of our friends and other fellow podcasters, and some of the Danny After Dark kind of tried and true viewers that I have, and I'm hoping everybody got something from this. And there was a lot of podcasts that got put out there. So again, few things at the very end. Go and download You Should Be Here, Inesto, Weird True Crime in Headlines, Truly Twisted, Missing in Hushtown, Case Uncovered, Secrets Beyond the Sacramento River, and of course, follow Jules on all of her platforms. That
Cold and Untold too, Danny, because I already I can't do that twice.
The breaking news.
Case
The breaking
uncovered.
news. Thank you. Yes. And all of Jules's information is
No
in
more
the
podcasts.
bar. So follow her as well. Be supportive in any way you can. And yeah, share all of these great resources with everybody. So thank you again, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Jules. And everybody have a great rest of your evening. And remember, until next time, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. Bye, everyone.